Oh yeah, I heard that today. I didn't realize that they got rid of the ACC Big Ten Challenge. I always looked forward to it. They always had some good matchups, and
It's the first
now
year.
it's oh well, what the heck?
Hold on. Do you think this has something to do with TV, where the SEC is like screw the Big Ten since they're on Peacock?
Yeah, you're probably right.
And something else, maybe the ACC is going to stay on ESPN and ABC.
Yeah, that could be it actually. So yeah, because so there's not going to be any Big Ten games on ESPN this year at all.
I don't think so. No, I mean,
oh wow,
sound like it.
Wow.
I mean, there wasn't any football games on Big Ten this year. I mean, ESPN.
On ESPN or ABC. Yeah, you're right. That's still crazy to think. I don't even think there was any non-conference games because, like, all the big ones that we had were Notre Dame, Ohio State. That was on NBC. And then
This wasn't a big game, but Iowa State was on Fox.
Yeah, and that game has been on Fox the last couple of years, or Big Ten Network.
Yeah,
which realistically, that game should be put on like the CW or ESPN Plus.
Hey, dude, no, the CW is reserved for ACC games.
I know. or streamed on like Facebook Live or something. But
that would be something. I could get on board with Facebook Live.
Facebook Live. I know they did a couple of really small level schools that they were on streamed on on Facebook Live.
Okay.
But yeah, this is episode 106 here of the Three Guys Talking Ball podcast. Got a lot to recap. It was a wild weekend in college football. The rivalry weekend lived up to the hype. We had some good NFL games. The Eagles just keep on rolling. Nick Sirianni still has a very punchable face. But we have to obviously start by discussing the game. Now, I could get up on my soapbox on my high horse, talk down on Ohio State, kick them while they're down, because it's at the moment very, very easy to do. But me being the Michigan man that I am, I'm not going to do that.
Whoa.
What, Grant?
A Michigan man, you've never gone to that university in your life. Stop being a fake fan and saying you're a Michigan man. You've never been there.
That is right. I have never gone. I did not go to Michigan, as most Michigan haters on the internet never fail to remind me. So, you know what? Here it goes. Ohio State got what they wanted. Crying Ryan Day hires his brother to try and bring Michigan down, just reeks of desperation, and said the only reason why Michigan has won these last 2 years was because, we had their signs. That's the only way. It doesn't make any sense. Oh, is it though? But you know what? Michigan doesn't need their signs to line up, blow them off the ball, and dominate them in the trenches like they have the last 3 years. It's Michigan men versus Ohio boys. And that couldn't have even have been truer. When the game hung in the balance and plays had to be made, the men on the field showed up and made Ohio State look like a bunch of little girls that they are.
Wow.
And they're not done. Michael Barrett has a saying, just a little bit of slogan that I think it's taken on as what Michigan has gone by, is be careful who you make the villain. This only brought the team closer and motivated them more to get back to Indy. So that coward, little, pathetic excuse of a man, Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti, has to hand Jim Harbaugh the Big Ten trophy on Saturday. And that's why Michigan is my team of the week.
Wow. We didn't even draw. That's cheating.
You know what? I made an audible. And so when you set the show up, you can make those audibles and do some adjustments to this. So,
hey, Ethan, is this also because Dylan owns a house and he's better than us?
He's not better than us.
Yeah, I'm not. But my teams are.
I'd love to be a bandwagon fan too.
What? We'll find out.
We all can't do that.
We'll find out Saturday at 10:30.
Fine.
Yes, we will. Are we placing a wager on this?
Not a fucking chance.
Come on, Grant.
Grant, you would, yeah. No,
I lost $20 last week on the Eagles-Chiefs game. I don't feel like losing another.
Oh, you also lost $200 because Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't winning the Heisman either.
That is true.
You can
Technically, I only lost. No, I only technically lost 67. I think the bet as a whole was 200.
Oh,
But no, that is correct. I also lost some money on that. But all honestly, dude, that long shot kind of bet in April for the odds was kind of fun. It's someone to follow the whole year, but then it also upsets you when he doesn't do anything to start the year. And I was like, oh, well, he lost this. And then when I thought he broke his ankle against Notre Dame, I was like, well, this bet's over. But no, I definitely think I want to try to do something again next year before the year. Either maybe if it's picking a team to win the national title, or someone like the Heisman Trophy, or hell, Coach of the Year would be a crazy one to do. But yeah, just kind of something fun like that. So yeah, out about a little under $100 this year on football bets that did not go my way.
It happens. You win some, you lose some.
That is correct.
So to pick second and third here, in lieu of going with of not going with a Vikings or Chiefs helmet, we are going with teams we dislike. So decided to go with our your guys' most hated teams. And Ethan, I know we've discussed this, so we're going with the Saints for you.
That's fair.
And for Grant, now this one's a little bit tougher because I've seen him in about 6 to 7 different jerseys on this podcast and in life.
It's the Raiders.
But I did think of, I have to go back to something that, that's always fresh in the mind. Have to go back to when we were all living together.
Oh, you
Week
motherfucker.
2 of the 2015 season. Jamal Charles fumbles, Broncos run it in. I don't have to get into more of it. So we're going to go with the Denver Broncos for Grant.
That is the correct choice. I can't stand those assholes.
Yet he has a Von Miller Broncos jersey. So I don't know. Do you really hate him, or?
I got it when I was in high school. What can I say? I thought the orange was cool. I liked Von when he was a rookie. Just because I don't like the team doesn't mean I can't like the player. That's my thing.
This is fair.
Okay, fair enough.
A lot of people hate the Eagles but love Jason Kelce.
This guilty.
So that's my attempt at defending myself. Luckily, this is not the court of law. So I don't have to worry about persuading a jury in my favor or not.
You're right. And so and for me, if I did pick, but I did a pre and I won, so it would have been the Eagles, though.
I'm sure.
It was a toss-up between Eagles, Packers, and lately just having to deal with Nick Sirianni and just.
Now, question for you, Dylan: is it Packers or was it just Aaron Rodgers in a Packers uniform?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't have anything Aaron Rodgers, and usually I've made it a point to make sure. I listen to Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show every Tuesday, so it's like I kind of like this guy, except when he beats my team.
Dude, I felt that way after the first episode of Hard Knocks. You were like, how can you not like this guy? Like, I don't know what it is, but he casts a spell on you where you're like, he's actually kind of cool, and he's good TV.
He is. It's his all those the drug or his darkness retreats, his
in the ayahuasca,
peyote or the ayahuasca, whatever it is. But did you get to watch the 2 episodes of the Dolphins Hard Knocks yet?
Yeah, and it's going to be a good one.
It will be. Mike McDaniel he'd be a fun guy to sit down and sit in an interview with, because he'd give you some good stuff.
Oh yeah, especially when he got hit in the junk in the shoulder.
I about fell out of my chair laughing when he was explaining. It was like, yeah, I was collateral on that hit. I got nailed in the shoulder, and then I got hit in the dick.
You got hit in the dick. Got hit right in the dick.
And that hurt like a motherfucker. But let's see here. Hopefully, I can keep the helmets in the hat.
I hope Ethan wins this week. It would be so funny. He wins and he still gets second place.
I know. It's going to happen.
It sure is going to happen.
It's gonna happen. I told you. Never fails.
And then, Grant, you're picking third, which you're hoping the Broncos move down to in the in the AFC West at some point, or just behind the Chiefs. But
as long as they're number 2, I'm cool with that. But in a weird way, don't want to see them in a potential 2-7 game. Not a fan of that.
well, I mean, there is some history behind that, because when the Broncos won their first Super Bowl, they did go on the road to Arrowhead and beat the Chiefs.
That is true.
So,
After the Chiefs
this is not about Grant here.
Enough
So,
about-
what is
enough
your
about me.
who's your
Grant, that's a
who's
great
your college
heckling, by the
football
way.
team of the week?
I know, brother. It's the same one.
Oh wow!
But and Dylan, that was not planned. Actually, I kid you not. But I went to the state of Iowa last week. I'm going right back to it. We're going with the Iowa State Cyclones, beating Kansas State.
No game.
The stats on this game make absolutely no sense. Kansas State ran 102 plays to Iowa State's 35.
So wild.
Iowa State had more turnovers. They had 25 less minutes time of possession, less passing yards, more rushing yards, but they averaged almost 20 yards a pass and over 11 yards a rush attempt. They had 3 plays, 3 touchdowns of 70-plus yards. They were, whether it was like a footing thing for Kansas State, they didn't get the right cleats or something, their staff wasn't on top of it. I have no idea, but it was explosive play after explosive play, and Kansas State just couldn't keep up. Like, it was absolutely nuts. He's gone.
And we've lost Dylan.
He got mad. I talked about Iowa twice in a row.
Yeah, fist him off.
Yeah, it is what it is. But no, that's just mind-boggling.
Like, do you do the blank resume on that game? As you think Kansas State would have won 69-0.
Yeah.
Like, what is going on here?
That's just, they had 23 third downs. Kansas State, 11 of 23.
That's crazy.
3 of 4 on fourth down. Iowa State, 3 of 7 on third down. They only had 10 first downs the entire game.
Oh, he put on the same hat.
I did.
Ethan, you know what's the best part about this game? The name they gave it, or at least maybe someone on Sports Illustrated's site. They called it Farmageddon. How perfect is that? The state of Iowa versus the state of Kansas.
Down, like it was filled. But you can even see. I don't even know how Jason. I think it was Jason Benetti on the call.
Yeah.
I don't even know how we knew where they were on the field. Like,
well, dude,
crazy.
When I got done with work on Saturday and went to the gym, when I came home, that was the most competitive game on.
Oh yeah.
So I watched that, and I couldn't tell where on the field these guys were. I just saw lines.
I remember on Sama's first touchdown run, I'm like, is he running out of the stadium? Like, has he stopped? Like, when do you know when you're good?
I don't think you do until you hit padding, until you hit purple padding.
Yep.
Or the tunnel, or you find yourself in the tunnel. Then it's
you never know.
Exactly.
But just a crazy game.
No, dude, I like it.
Weird things happen in snow games.
Yep.
Snow games and snow games. And it's rivalry week. What can we say?
Yeah.
But I'm going to stick in the Big 12 conference, and I'm actually going to go to the state just south of Kansas, and I'm going to go with the Oklahoma Sooners. Last game of the Big 12, you got to win to keep yourself somewhat alive for the Big 12 championship game, and they put up 69 points. Hey.
Nice.
Nice. And just, this year to come back after a 6-7 year last year, to finish the regular season at 10-2, when your offensive coordinator is probably going to take a head coaching job this next week. Just a nice job by Brent Venables and his staff to, like I said, put up 69 points and get
nice.
I'm doing it again, baby. Just a good win to end the regular season, get some confidence going into the bowl game. And, people were thinking Oklahoma was in shambles when Lincoln Riley left. Well, with Venables there, they're now built for success in the SEC compared to where USC is at. I think.
Why? What's wrong with USC?
Well, they're soft and they're not coached well. And Lincoln Riley wears a visor, so he's a pussy.
Whoa.
And Venables, he's bringing in a bunch of good players next year. just like he did this last year, and just like how Sark built Texas, he's building that thing from the inside out. So, just overall, I'm going to give OU its props because I think they had a great week, and I like their future that Coach Venables has going for them in the SEC next year.
Yeah, I was shocked when I saw that score. I didn't realize because they played on Friday, and I had to work, which is a whole other story. I should be a day that everybody should not be working and take off. But yeah, I go and I kind of forgot about it, and then later Saturday night I was looking at that game and looked, holy crap, 69-45. Score defense was optional.
Your classic Big 12 game.
It really was. It's of the, I guess, Oklahoma had to end their final Big 12 game with a bang. So, no better way than to score 69 points.
Giggity.
Nice. And then Grant, let's go over to your surprise team of the week here in the NFL Week 12. So who surprised you?
So I don't know what my relationship is with this team, because they were a playoff team to start the year. They were a disappointing team last week. They fired a coach, and then all of a sudden the building changed. How about the Pittsburgh Steelers offense?
Yeah.
I know I understand only 16 points. It's still not great. But luckily when you're playing a Joe Burrow-less Bengals, that's all you need to win the game. But their offense looked great when you look at just the paper. I mean, Kenny Pickett completed 72% of his passes. But the more important part, he 8.4 yards per attempt. He was getting the ball down the field a little bit, something we never saw when Matt Canada was there. They finally had over 400 yards of total offense. And I think the biggest stat of the day that I saw when I was doing some research today, they had 5 players on Sunday who averaged 10-plus yards per reception. I didn't think that was possible. I mean, it's truly incredible how one small coaching change can just change the energy in the building. We see it all the time whenever a head coach gets fired. It seems like teams come out the next week and they win and they play big. So maybe the Steelers offense needed this. And, they average 4.6 yards per carry on the ground. Shoot, the Steelers, they can continue to play offense like this with that defense. They're not only going to make the playoffs, they're going to be a team you don't want to play. So my surprise team is Pittsburgh, because I don't know the relationship I have with them this year. It's a situationship, I'll say, with me in Pittsburgh.
Well, instead of using jet motion all the time, they actually decided to kind of utilize the middle of the field. It helps having Pat Freiermuth come back,
and he had 9 receptions for 100.
Yeah,
he was hurt.
Because was he hurt, or they just forgot that they had him?
He was on a
little bit of both.
Okay.
But he had 9 receptions for 120 yards.
Yeah.
Bodes well for him going forward.
I also had him as had the Steelers as one of my surprise teams, but I'll have to find a new one.
Freiermuth was my original pick for my fantasy tight end this year.
There you go. I am starting him over Kittle this week.
Yeah, that's a tough. Tight ends haven't done much against Philadelphia this year.
No, and Kittle's very hit and miss. When Debo was out, fantastic. Debo back, not nearly as many targets. So I'm not risking it.
So Ethan, now who do you got?
I'll say it's a surprise. I'm not saying they're good, but the Bears, particularly their defensive line. Vikings offensive line had actually been very good this year, especially in pass protection, like pretty solid. Bears got 3 sacks, 9 QB hits, 20 pressures, I think. Like, yes, Dobbs was terrible. But at the same time, he was under constant pressure. I don't think KOC, I told you guys, did him any favors on Monday night. But they were constantly in the backfield. They held the Vikings to just over 4 yards a rush. So not like great by any means, but serviceable. But really just keeping him under pressure the entire time and not letting him get outside the pocket on the scrambles like we've seen from other teams. They almost always had a spy on him. And the Vikings just never had an outlet. Like there was nowhere for him to go with the ball.
Well, no one could get open.
Yeah.
It was sticky man coverage all game. And I think Monday showed that the Vikes need Justin Jefferson because these dudes who are on the roster right now, they can't get open.
Also, Addison, worst game of his career. Not even close.
He just ran out of bounds.
Yeah.
That one, I guess, at the
Or
end
the
of the day,
throw.
didn't matter because they still scored. But yes, just a pathetic. You can't do that.
That is true.
But still, just he had multiple drops, led to an interception. If he catches that one that went off his hands for a pick, it's probably a touchdown. He's full stride. Safety's behind him. Like, there's no way anyone's going to catch him.
Well, and I believe a lot of those interceptions too, or like that play, my memory served me correct too. That was a third down that would have extended a drive. The Vikings were
Oh yeah, he absolutely
forgot how to convert on third downs.
And one of his interceptions was on fourth down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what do you do there?
The interception actually gave the Bears worse field position in that case.
Yeah, I remember. I was like, yeah, but like Aikman called it right away. He goes, "Hey, should have dropped that ball."
Yeah. But I'll go to the Bears D line.
All righty. Well, I'm gonna go with Grant's team. I'm gonna go with the Kansas City Chiefs. After a very
catch from the receivers.
Yeah, after a tough loss where that they blew a 10-point second half lead. Chiefs kind of carried that into the game where they fell behind 14-0. Maybe they were out and about partying in Vegas the night before. Not really sure, but they bounced back, able to tie it right before half, and then outscore. After they fell behind 14-0, they outscore the Raiders 31-3. I think they have finally found an identity on offense, which is running the ball, which not many people thought they would say with Andy Reid as the head coach. But Pacheco, McKinnon, that backfield has been really good, especially where the passing game has really struggled. But the receivers looked a lot better this week compared to last week. They actually caught the ball. Maybe Pat Mahomes has taken some zip off the ball. There's a common denominator with all these drops as Pat Mahomes is throwing it. Maybe he doesn't throw a very catchable ball. I'm not sure. And Pat Mahomes also may have found a second favorite target behind Travis Kelce in the rookie Rashee Rice, who had 8 catches for 107 yards and a touchdown. And I think with the improved run game, I think a little bit more commitment to the run game. I think you saw that more in the second half where they stuck with the run, where they, against the Eagles, it felt like they kind of got away from running the ball, where they were gashing the Eagles in that first half. But for the Chiefs and Andy, big of Andy, to stick with the run and commit to it, we'll see if that continues week to week or into the next week. But letting the defense do their thing, not putting the defense in vulnerable spots where they're going to give up touchdowns or giving them short fields. I think Andy Reid's finally maybe understood complementary football.
Well, if you remember last year, the 3 or 4 times that I called the Chiefs out and they started to run the ball, that was their 3 or 4 best games of the year, and they scored 30 points in all those games. So they did that again. But then also, the one thing going back to last year's team, when they really got going on offense, Juju stepped up. Well, on Sunday we saw Rashee Rice kind of step up, and you have that number 2 option where Mahomes trusts him, and Juju and Rashee they're kind of built the same way. They're big possession guys. They're not going to burn you like Tyreek, but if Rashee can get comfortable and he can keep doing his thing. And then when you need a Sky Moore, when Kadarius Toney plays, when you need Justin Watson to make a play as that third option, they're going to be a hard team to beat.
Yeah, and one thing I've always said about the Chiefs these last few years is they don't run the ball a whole lot, but their situational running is exceptional. When they have to run the ball, they are able to move the sticks, get a push up front and move the sticks and run the clock out. I think that's something that they've always been good at. They've always relied on that the passing game, just because of that's who Andy Reid is. But situationally, they've always been able to run the ball, and this year they have to do it a little bit more than what they'd like to or are used to doing. But Let's go down to the disappointing team of the week here, and I'm gonna go all the way back to Thursday, and I'm gonna go with the team that was my surprise team the week before, and they let me down. It's the Detroit Lions. The final score that was not very indicative of that this game was actually as close as it was because it wasn't. 29-22 score. Um, Before the game, Ford Field looked absolutely electric. I mean, the place was buzzing. It was there was a little bit more buzz in the air, a lot different than what you're used to seeing in Detroit. And then the game kicked off. First play, Jordan Love hits Christian Watson deep. And after that, it just felt like it took the life out of Ford Field, took the life out of the Lions. Jared Goff turned back to 2020, 2019 Jared Goff, where he was sloppy with the football, did not handle pressure very well. The Bears, the Lions defense is still kind of, their problems are coming to the forefront again, like it did. That cost them their slow start last season, and right now it's kind of rearing its ugly head. That could cost them down the playoff push. And then they weren't able to stop the run, and then on the defensive side they weren't able to stop the pass rush at all. And Rashawn Gary is looking really good. Made that Packers defense, who has been knocked, and rightfully so, knocked quite a bit. They made them look like they had a bunch of all pros on the team. And then back to the Lions defenses, they couldn't stop the run, and then they were not able to make Jordan Love uncomfortable at all, which is where he struggles, is when you get pressure on him, get in his face. But they were not able to do that at all on Thursday, and that is why the Packers right now are one of the hotter teams in football.
Do the Lions blitz a lot? Because I'm pretty sure I saw Jordan Love is like the best quarterback in the league versus the blitz this year.
They typically don't. No,
I didn't think so. Okay, interesting. But yeah, Simone Biles' husband, pick six. No, the fumble, which that was so stupid by the Lions. Like, no one even tried for it, and the whistle never blew. Like, didn't even try to pick it up. Like, what are you doing?
Well, and the ref did the right thing in that situation. Let it play out. You can always bring the ball back.
Exactly.
Don't blow it dead.
Smart.
Ethan, who you got for your disappointing team of the week?
I'm going to the first half Eagles. Down, what was it, 17-3 or something? I can't remember what that.
17-7.
17-7. What's his nuts? Hurts 4 of 11, 33 yards, an interception at half. I think they ran it 14 times or 12 times in the first half. 7 of them were to Hurts. I'm guessing either scrambles or quarterback keepers. I think two or three were to Swift, and then they split them between Boston Scott and Gainwell. They just need to figure it out. Swift is what makes that team go. We saw it versus the Chiefs last week. They literally were he was the offense. Like, they couldn't throw for shit. They couldn't move the ball. Really, the only offense they had was screens to him, and then him busting a couple long ones in the second half. He didn't bust any super long ones on Sunday, but he at least opened everything else up, so Hurts actually could make some throws, especially to Devontae Smith. They just need to realize he's really their main piece. They need to start working him in even more than what they are. Keep Gainwell, the third running back there, third down back, and just Boston Scott. Unless he's in there for some specialized play, he doesn't need to be in there. He's not good enough.
Yeah, and then they wake up. There's just a belief about that team, within that team, where it doesn't matter what the score is. There's always that belief that they're going to find a way to come back. They're going to find a way to get in the game. And then you think you have them dead to right. Jason Kelce has 2 false starts. That makes it a 61-yard field goal in terrible conditions, terrible field, and just absolutely dong shots.
That might have been good from 63, 64. And that was the worst conditions I've seen a kick that long before.
Yeah.
I will say this, though, guys, about the Eagles. Yes, that second half comeback was great. Jalen is calm, cool, and collective under pressure. They don't get phased. if they continue to play like they did in the first half these last 2 games, it's going to catch up to them.
And it's going to catch up to them this week.
Correct. And the week after that. I'm starting to like that team. I want to see, but we'll see. And I'm not going to say anything to get Dylan too excited. But if that team plays like they do at home, watch out. Because what's the also another common denominator in these last 2 games for the Eagles here, their opponent gave the game away. Multiple opportunities to put them away, and both the Chiefs and Bills missed out on that. And against the Niners, a rematch against Kansas City or Dallas in AT&T, that doesn't happen. So, but never doubt him out, because Jalen is just cool as a cucumber, and they just have too many players on that team. Another caveat I want to throw in there, Swift gets them going, but when they need a play in the pass game, Devontae Smith is the guy they go to. These last couple weeks, he's a stud. So Dylan, I'm not going to lie, for my disappointing team, I was so dialed in on one team. I'm going to double down on Detroit because I had them winning the NFC North this year, and more or less just this Detroit defense. And also Jared Goff having 3 turnovers on Sunday. But when your leading tackler for your game is your rookie safety, that's a problem.
That's not good.
That's not good. No, that means you're giving up way too many yards, and you're going to lose a lot of games. I get Aaron Glenn. He seems to be a good guy, but sorry, Dan Campbell, you're going to have to fire one of your good friends, because he's not a defensive coordinator in this game. When you let Jordan Love 8.4 yards per attempt with 3 touchdowns, and Green Bay has 0 turnovers all game, that's just unacceptable. And then Green Bay averages 5 yards per rushing attempt in this game, and Green Bay 12.2 yards per reception. The Packers are playing better and they're getting more comfortable, but this isn't the Eagles, the Cowboys, or the 49ers that the Lions might have to play in the playoffs in a possible round 2 matchup. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They could have had Jalen Carter, and they need Jalen Carter, but they decided to trade back and take a running back with their first of the 2 first-round picks, and Jahmyr Gibbs. And I'm sorry, but 11 carries for 54 yards and no touchdowns, that's not good enough. 4 receptions for 19 yards as a first-rounder, that's not good enough. The Lions, I will regret on passing on Jalen Carter for years and years to come, because you could have had him and Aiden Hutchinson, and you can see they don't have any pressure up the middle, so where Aiden can get to the quarterback and have an easy sack. So just disappointed in this Lions defense, because they are going to let this team down.
Yeah, and let's go down to the move over to the told you so team of the week. Grant, who are you telling us about?
So for me, it's not so much a team. It's more, I'm going to go an individual player, and it's my fantasy quarterback this year in Trevor Lawrence. Everyone these last couple weeks they were asking me in my league, "Oh, are you going to get rid of Lawrence? Lawrence doesn't seem to be the guy. You're going to maybe try to trade someone to try to get Josh Dobbs?" I was like, no. I'm going to stick with Sunshine, because it was this time last year when he got real hot, and Jacksonville started to win some games, and he was great again on Sunday. 364 yards passing, 2 total touchdowns. It looks like Jacksonville is slowly starting to figure this thing out there at 8-3, leading the AFC South. And they're gonna be a problem come playoff time. And I think Trevor's gonna get rolling. He's gonna be hot. And if I'm not mistaken, did Trevor your MVP pick to start the year?
Yes, he was.
I thought he was. I'm not saying he's gonna win it, because I don't know if there's really a clear MVP.
No, there's a lot that are in that running. I would say there's probably about 5 or 6 guys that are kind of floating around in that conversation or on the verge of that conversation.
Yeah, so I just, he's really stepped it up these last couple weeks, and like I said, 364 yards in the air. He's just kind of letting everybody know that, hey, don't forget about me. Jacksonville's going to be a problem come playoff time. So I got to go Trevor Lawrence.
It's a good call. Who you
We
got?
just talked pretty extensively about this team, but we guys talked about the other side of the game. But the Packers, I picked them to make the preseason or postseason before the season. They're starting to look like that team I thought they'd be. Jordan Love, just don't make mistakes. Run the ball, make smart passes, and they're getting very explosive. It is honestly what they're doing. Even with Aaron Jones out, they put up 29 on Detroit. And then the defense. They've always been a good defense. They're really starting to get after it now. God dang it. Rashawn Gary, your Michigan boy, absolute beast. Like, controls the whole game there. Detroit never got their running game going. But no, I'm going with the Packers. I think they might right now. They might be the best team in the NFC North.
They are certainly playing like it, and the division is still very much up for grabs because
Absolutely.
as we said in the start of the year, why both Ethan and I picked the Vikings to win the division was because we got to see the Lions do it, and we have the Lions. They've had some good moments, and they've had some moments like they had on Thanksgiving where the
They've had
Pilgrims
multiple chances to kind of take over, and they've failed multiple times. Like at some point, they need to figure it out if they're going to actually win.
Yeah, and that brings it up to me and my told you so team. It actually is from the same game, but I'm gonna go with the Saints, or actually more so Derek Carr. He has finally thrown a red zone touchdown, albeit to the other team, but it's still technically a red zone touchdown, I guess, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, there it is. And I still don't understand why they have him as the starter, because he refuses to throw the ball downfield. It seems like he has no connection to his teammates. Like, guys do not respond to him at all. I don't know why Dennis Allen keeps throwing him out there, or make the decision to go with Jameis, because at least Jameis, you can tell there's a little bit more juice when he is playing. He's not afraid to throw the ball downfield. He's going to throw some turnovers, but throwing the ball 3 yards to your running backs and having Alvin Kamara have 14 catches for 29 yards, that doesn't do you any good. At least throw it up, because you got two tremendous. You got Chris Olave, and I'm trying to think who else they have as receivers. But
Michael Thomas, but he's always hurt.
And Michael Thomas, Taysom Hill. But Derek Carr just does not provide a spark to this team. His teammate, like I said, they don't respond to him. There's something that needs to change in New Orleans, and this is why the Saints will not win the division and why they lost to the Falcons.
They were my other option for my disappointing team. Honestly, Dylan, because I think at least I did. I think we all did pick them to win the division this year, because
I picked Atlanta.
Okay, all right. So
I picked the Saints too.
So two of us did, just because we thought they had the best quarterback. But I'm kind of disappointed in this team is we should know that Dennis Allen isn't a head coach in this league, because we already saw that failure in Oakland. What makes us think it'll change the second round? I mean, at some point, people show you who they are, and that's who they are. Not many coaches get better their second time after they got fired their first time. I don't know why we keep giving these guys second chances.
We're going to have a new nickname for Derek Carr going forward. Dink and Dunk Derek.
Dink and Dunk Derek.
Dink and Dunk Derek. I like that.
Yep.
That is a good one.
Yep.
And then another thing, Pete Carmichael. We should know this guy's an absolute horrible offensive coordinator. When Sean Payton was either suspended or up in the booth with that ACL tear he had when someone ran into him, the Saints offense is horrible. And look what Sean's doing now in Denver. So the writing was on the wall, and unfortunately, Ethan and I think, missed it. But we'll see.
A lot of season left.
Someone has to win this division and possibly lose to Dallas in the first round of the playoffs.
Correct.
So.
God, I love the tier ratings. It's somebody has to win it, and
someone has to lose to Dallas.
Do you guys want to preview week 13 in the NFL, or do you want to go talk some college football, some playoff scenarios?
Let's do college football.
Okay, let's go
Absolutely.
back to college football here. So, guys, we're just gonna pick some winners here. It's gonna be I'm gonna say the team, say the game, the conference championship games. You guys are gonna say a winner, and then after that, we will discuss the playoff scenarios, the chaos that could happen, or what might not happen. So we'll start with the first conference championship game that's going to be going, and that's going to be Friday in the Pac-12 championship. Oregon versus Washington. Oregon is a 9.5-point favorite in this game. Who you guys picking?
I'm gonna pick Oregon. Just because Washington hasn't looked good, but at the same time, Washington seems like a team that plays down to their competition every time, regardless of if they're very good or if they're very bad. And so far, they've obviously won them all. So I mean, I don't know. I just think Oregon's firing on all cylinders. I mean, Bo Nix is arguably a top 1 or 2 Heisman candidate. I'm going with them. Go Bucky. Go get the national title.
I'm also going to go with Oregon, and I think that third time's the charm where Dan Lanning doesn't get in his way and he doesn't Brandon Staley this game. I understand being aggressive, but he's almost being out of control. You know, right? These first 2 games that went in his career at Oregon when he's played Washington, and so I'm with Ethan. I'm gonna go with Oregon. Their offense is just too much, and Michael Penix hasn't been the same since that first Oregon game.
No, he hasn't, and that's also probably why I'm gonna pick Oregon.
Oh well, all right. Washington to the playoff it is then.
Yep. Which the scenarios we'll get into, but yeah, I think Oregon. I think there's that revenge factor. Oregon's feeling like they left a lot. Dan Lanning's probably beating himself up, thinking that cost them, and Washington, like Ethan said, just has not played as well, but they do kind of play to the level of their competition. I think Washington covers this game, but I like Oregon to win. So down to the Big 12. The 10 o'clock game on ABC on Saturday. Texas 15.5-point favorites now. Do you think can Oklahoma State pull the upset and send Texas packing with their final Big 12 game as a loss? Similar to what they did to Oklahoma.
No.
Ethan's going with Texas?
Oklahoma State gave up 45 to UCF. There's no way they can hold Texas down. I think Texas wins big and they cover.
And also, they needed a fourth overtime to beat BYU last week, a 5-6 BYU Cougars team. And also, Texas is going to be pissed off because Mike Gundy was coach of the year and not Sark. Talk about pettiness. Dylan, you talk about the Big Ten commissioner having to give the championship trophy to Harbaugh. Well, this loser in the Big 12 is going to have to look Sark in the eye and give him a trophy on Saturday.
I'll shout out former Big 12 commissioner whose son blocked Ethan for calling him out. So yeah, I think that just is that is just a requirement to be Big 12 commissioners. You have to be a gigantic pussy. So, and let's I'm gonna change things up here. We got to have one non-Power 5. So I went with the teams with the best records here, and we're going to the action. Miami of Ohio versus Toledo, 10 a.m. on ESPN. Who do you guys have?
I think Toledo sounds cooler, so we'll go Toledo.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna go with the Redhawks. You drive down the highway, see a red-tailed hawk on a light pole. You know he's about to eat some sort of critter. So give me the Redhawks.
Give
me my
Ben Roethlisberger's over there.
Yeah, yep. the Big Ben special.
Yep.
And you know what? I guess I'm gonna roll with Miami of Ohio. Bo Schembechler, that's where he coached at before he went to Michigan. So I guess I got to roll with the Redhawks as well. But back to the Power 5 here. Let's go to the probably after the Oregon-Washington game, the most hyped up, most one that promises to, and going by point spread, promises to be one of the better games. Actually, yeah, the second best point spread of the Power 5. Georgia versus Alabama. Georgia's 5.5-point favorites. This game's 2 p.m. CBS.
I think this one has the most implications for the college football playoff.
Mm-hmm.
If Alabama wins, 2 SEC teams are getting in. Simple as that. If Georgia wins, it's 1. Alabama's out. But I don't know. I feel like this is one of those years where Georgia looks dominant. Alabama comes back and beats them, though. I'm going Alabama. I think Milroe, whatever his name is, has looked phenomenal the last last month since he got benched. But yeah, I'm going with Alabama. Why the hell not? They look like the better team right now, if you ask me.
All right, Ethan is rolling with the tide here. We got our first upset pick of the day, of the show, for that matter. Grant?
And this is where we differ. Ethan talks about Washington playing the level of their competition. Well, Georgia's done that this year too. And unlike in 2021 when they knew they could lose and they could get in, that's not the same. I think they're going to come out. They're going to be guns a-blazing. Carson Beck is doing something real special right now. We got those running backs. That Georgia defense is going to make just enough 2 or 3 plays where they turn Alabama over and those could go into points the other way. So I'm going to take the Dogs in a home game.
All right. Can we get a bark?
Didn't do it loud enough.
And I've bounced back and forth with this one. Alabama did not look great against Auburn. Some of that's because of a rivalry game. Auburn,
or they were looking ahead,
and possibly looking ahead. I expect Alabama to come out ready to play in this game because it's Alabama Georgia for the SEC title game. They're gonna have Georgia fans are gonna be barking. Alabama fans are going to be yelling "Roll Tide." They're going to be starting drinking at 5 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be an absolute booze fest down in Atlanta. But I think Georgia's been the more consistent team all year. I trust Carson Beck to make the right decision more than I trust Jalen Milroe to. So that's why I'm going to go with the Dogs to win their back-to-back SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
So down to the night games. We'll start with the ACC here. Florida State versus Louisville. Florida State is 2.5-point favorites. 6 p.m. on ABC. Boys, who does Florida State win and get that undefeated record?
If Florida State wins, obviously they go undefeated. And then if Alabama beats Georgia, that's going to be crazy to see what the actual committee does. Are you going to go with an undefeated ACC champion just because they're undefeated? Because they are not one of the best 4 teams in the country right now without Travis. So what do? Do you honor the whole system or do you honor the better team? That's going to be crazy if it does happen.
Which we'll talk about it after we.
Yeah, I have Louisville winning. I have Louisville winning. I think they're the team right now without Travis. So I do have Louisville taking it. Go Jeff Brown.
I'm with you, E. I think Louisville was looking ahead last week. They were playing Kentucky. That was Kentucky's national championship. I think Brohm is going to get Louisville fired up to play, just like he did before that Notre Dame game. Come in, win a conference title his first year there. Florida State, they don't have the emotion of playing an in-state game anymore against Florida, where a lot of these players played high school together. And, these all-state, all-star games, I believe it's in Charlotte, right? Or is it in Orlando?
Yep. Charlotte.
Yeah, it's in Charlotte. It's not going to be a home game like if it was in Orlando. I'm with E. I think the Cards get the win.
Okay. And yes, it is at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
Okay.
And you guys are zigging. I'm going to zig. I'm going to go with Florida State. They did not look great last week. It was also a rivalry game. I think a bit. Grant, you mentioned Louisville looking a little bit ahead, losing to Kentucky. I think Florida State also had a little bit of that syndrome. I think them breaking in a new quarterback in a rivalry game, I think that might have also had a factor in it. And I think with another week to prepare, I think Mike Norvell is going to have Rodemaker ready to go. And I'm going to go with the Noles to continue that continue their unbeaten season and make things tough, could potentially tougher for the committee to see what they do with them. And then let's go to the final, the other 6 p.m. game on Fox. This one is going to be on Fox. It's the Big Ten Championship. It's a battle of two of the host team here, Michigan versus Iowa. Michigan is a 21.5 point favorite as of now. The over-under for Iowa in the first half team total is 3.5 points last I looked. But guys, who do you guys have picking to win the Big Ten championship?
Michigan, and it's going to be just as bad as when Ohio State absolutely walloped Wisconsin.
So 59-0.
Yep, 40 plus point victory.
Yeah, I got Michigan as well.
Oh, so Ethan has Michigan covering and the over. That's a free bet right there.
Doubling them up.
Covering and the over, yeah. Because what's the over? 33.5, Dylan?
35.5 when I looked this morning here. Let's
Okay.
see if that line is dropped.
Iowa's defense isn't good enough to stop Michigan or like that. No way.
Let's see here. It is 35.5. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I got Michigan as well. I mean, if Iowa's defense plays the half of their life, it'll be close like the Penn State game was at halftime. But then they're just going to run out of gas, and the floodgates are going to open up, kind of like the game 2 years ago. Was it 14-3, and then the final score was 42-3. Michigan had. If you pick the players on this roster, picked 1 through 75, you would pick the entire Michigan roster before you picked an Iowa player. So Michigan.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Wolverines as well. I think. Yeah, I know, shocking. But I wouldn't be shocked if this game is somewhat close, similar like what you said, Grant, like a 14-3 game. But in the end, I think Michigan has the horses. Harbaugh's coming back. They're going to be playing inspired, and I think he came back at a really good time. Sharon Moore has done a phenomenal job, coached his balls off, coached like he had nothing to lose, was the more aggressive coach, and it paid off against Ohio State. Go on the road, beat Penn State, beat Maryland. But with Harbaugh coming back, he's going to have those guys ready. Him having that NFL experience of, it's the next week. We can't worry about last week, not letting the team have an emotional letdown. He's going to have them ready and focused. They're going to have a good week of practice. They're going to go to Indy and treat it as a business trip, go down there, get a win, and then probably get the more than likely, depending on what happens, the 2 seed playing whoever, which I guess that is a good transition here where let's the playoff scenario. So the easy, and I don't know if easy is the right thing, but right now the committee goes Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4. I think if all 4 teams win this week, I think that's what the committee is going to go with, going off the past.
100%.
They always take the path of least resistance. If all 4 teams win, which we do not think is going to happen, with Oregon winning, even if Oregon beats Washington, the Pac-12,
that's a quarterfinal game.
It's a quarterfinal game. It's a playing game. Whoever wins is in. Now, that said, I think Michigan.
Dylan, real quick, I think it's kind of. No, ranking what? Never. I was going to say it's like the Iowa Michigan game in 15, but Iowa was the 4, and Michigan State was the 5. Washington here's the 3, but just like that game, it's a quarterfinal game.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think even if Michigan were to get upset by Iowa, I still would think they're in. But
that would be a bad loss though.
Yeah,
that'd be.
That's a bad loss.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Oof.
I still think they have 2 really good wins that balance it out with beating Ohio State and Penn State. But now where things get weird here is the SEC. What happens in the SEC championship game, like Ethan said? Big 12, there's not a whole lot of implications here. Texas wins. They've put themselves in, given themselves the opportunity to get in. They're going to need some luck. But with the SEC, depending on what happens, I'm not sure if Alabama beats Georgia. I'm almost tempted to say Georgia is out, depending on what else happens. I think if Florida State wins, I think that might be a path where Georgia drops down all the way down to the 4 seed potentially, and they play Michigan in the Rose Bowl. But Alabama wins, they're in, and that's where it brings up the best 4 or most deserving 4, because I think there needs to be some sort of balance of what did you do on the field. Alabama lost to Texas. And I think if Alabama wins, Texas wins, I think both of those teams deserve to go. Georgia did not win an SEC championship. And, this is one of those things with the committee where they always kind of change year to year of what is most important, of the best team or most deserving. And I think this is a year where the conference championships matter and settled on the field. Texas beat Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia. I think both of those teams get in, and Georgia is potentially, depending on what happens in that Florida State. I think if Florida State loses to Louisville, you'd still have a team knocked out. And then they're not going to leave a team from the SEC out. That's just not going to happen.
Oh, God, no.
I think if everything holds, it's probably going to be Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Washington 3, Florida State 4. That's probably what it's going to be. I don't see that changing. If a couple teams get upset, this could be the wildest selection show that we've seen in the college football era.
It would be back to the 2017 when Alabama got in as the 4 seed, when it was the debate between them and Ohio State.
Yeah,
but
I think
on that year, Dylan, for that year though, it was clear and obvious that Alabama was better than Ohio State. It was clear and obvious. And also,
that would happen this year, you have 8 teams that are legitimately good enough to get in.
So hear me out, guys. Listen to this. Listen to this scenario right here. I got for you. After I say this, I want you to tell me who's in. Okay? How did it go? Was it okay, so undefeated Georgia is in. Undefeated Michigan, they're in. You have a 1-loss Pac-12 champion in Oregon, a 1-loss Big 12 champion in Texas, and an undefeated Florida State team. Boom. 3 teams for 2.
I'm going easy.
Well, you go with we said Pac-12. The Pac-12 is a quarterfinal game, so whoever that is wins.
Yep.
And I think you go with Florida State. They're undefeated. I understand that they don't have Jordan Travis, but we've also
Ohio State
seen it
didn't have Cardale Jones.
Where Ohio or JT Barrett, you mean?
Or sorry, JT Barrett. Yep.
And when you win all your games in a Power 5 conference, you deserve to be in the playoff. I don't care who the quarterback is. That is not easy to do it. It's not easy when you have a potential first-round quarterback as a starting quarterback. If you go undefeated, you deserve to be in. That's my logic.
Florida State played LSU out of conference. Texas played Alabama. Okay, they both played a team in the SEC. I don't care that Texas played a Sherwood game and Florida State played a home game in Orlando. They went to New Orleans last year to play LSU. It's only fair. It's not Florida State's fault that Clemson was down. They didn't play North Carolina, and I don't think they played North Carolina State either. So 2 of the better teams in the ACC, and at the end of the day, Texas had another opportunity to beat a top 10 team, and they couldn't do it. So I'm with you, Dylan. If you go undefeated, I don't care if you don't have your quarterback or not. You don't have a blemish. You deserve to be in there.
I'll be the devil's advocate here. I'm going Texas. I'm going the team. I want the best 4. That's great. You went undefeated. Congratulations. That's incredible. It happened in the BCS too. Not always the best team with a record gets in. Obviously, we don't even know what the hell that metric was, that computer system, that algorithm. We have no idea. Here, they can at least speak to why they do it. I want the best four, and I think Texas at that point is better than Florida State. So I'm putting Texas in as the 4, Oregon as the 3.
Yeah. And like I said, I think there needs to be a balance between the best and more deserving, because if we go off of point spreads, like Nick Saban last year was, when I was so desperate at halftime of the Big Ten championship and beg, because talk about how if we were to play, we would be favored against 3 of the 4 teams, but they lost 2 games. They didn't do it on the field. You have to do it on the field, and Texas should not have lost. I think if Texas would have gotten a rematch with Oklahoma and beat them, I think they would have a much better argument, but
100%.
But they don't, and I'm not saying you're wrong. And with the 12-team playoff, this isn't even a question they're in, but I think that you still need to have, things have to be settled on the field.
Well, and also, guys, it's going to come down to Saturday style of how you win. Had Ohio State not done 59-0 over Wisconsin, TCU probably gets in that year. If that would have been a black and blue Big Ten title game, Ohio State wins 28-20 with Cardale Jones, TCU's in there. But they blew the absolute doors off them and had the game of their life, and the committee's like, hey, this team ain't too bad. So if Florida State, if they defeat Louisville, but it's an ugly, 23-19 game like last Saturday was when they beat Florida. I know it was a 2-possession game, but you're kind of sitting back like, yeah, the Gators could have won that thing. And if Texas wins 38-10 or 45-10, I think the style points and then the win in Tuscaloosa to start the year, and also the Jordan Travis injury, Texas is going to get in. So just like how we talked in the NBA play-in tournament or the in-season tournament, style points are going to matter on Saturday. And if Sark has an opportunity to run up that score, run it up.
Is there a way you see Ohio State getting in?
There needs to be a lot of chaos.
So hold on. If that were to happen, Texas has to lose. Texas has to lose. Florida State has to lose.
Yep.
If that's
honestly,
and they can't have Alabama win. And they can't have
do it.
Yeah.
They can't have Alabama win.
Well, even then, would you pick 1-loss Georgia or would you pick 1-loss Ohio State? That's what it comes down to.
Oh, holy shit!
I would still go. I think
I'd go Georgia.
I'll probably get called biased, but yeah, I'd probably go Georgia.
I think they go SEC. But
I do.
Is that the right choice? I don't know, because I think Ohio State played well versus Michigan.
They did.
They did.
You're not wrong. That was they played really well. But the other part too that I look at as far as Georgia, Ohio State, Carson Beck is a much better player than Kyle McCord. I think he's more of a difference maker than Kyle McCord would be.
Mm-hmm.
And also, guys, let's not forget this. Are they going to penalize the last 2-time defending national champions who's won 28 games in a row? I think it's not fair to say this, but I think Georgia has that in their back pocket, where the committee's going to sit back and say, hey, they went 12-0 in the regular season, and they had to play a 13th game. This Ohio State team only played 12 2 years in a row. They couldn't even win their division. I think that there might be some bias in there in that aspect too.
Because would they allow a Michigan-Ohio State rematch in the semifinal? Because that's what it would have to be. There's no way you can put Ohio State at 3.
No, Ohio State has to be 4.
And Washington wouldn't jump Michigan.
Yeah, no, if Ohio State's in there, the 4, and if Alabama wins and you kick Georgia out, it has to be a
semifinal rematch.
There has to be a semifinal rematch.
Can you imagine that? That would be just nuts.
In the Rose Bowl?
Oh my!
Oh my God!
Dylan would legitimately die.
I'd probably go. I'd probably spend $700 on a ticket just to go watch it.
$700?
We've talked so much about this. Let's be real. The favorites are going to win. None of this is going to matter.
It's going to be. It's going to be Georgia, Florida State.
Go wrong.
Yep.
And it's going to be Michigan, Washington.
Boom, 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 boom. Good to go. Easy.
But Dylan, it's funny you mentioned that because these last 4 or 5 years, the committee's had it easy. Every
They
team
have.
that's had to win, they've won. The only tough year was 17, like you said, but Alabama was better than Ohio State. And in 14, when Ohio State got in over TCU.
Yeah.
Is Condoleezza Rice still on the committee?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I can't remember who it is,
I'm
but
gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up.
Joel Klatt was ranting about it today on the Joel Klatt show about the
I love Joel, but he rants about these guys every single week. He's just looking to create content.
Selection committee roster. Here we go. It's pulling up right now.
No, so hear me out, guys. Hear me out. What if?
Got it. You ready? Let me know when you're ready.
Okay, Ethan, hold that
go
thought.
ahead.
Hold
Go.
that thought, because I have something here. I don't want to forget it. So, hypothetically speaking, we said Texas loses, Florida State loses. They're out, and there's a chance Ohio State gets in. What if Washington loses to Oregon? Are they going to? They're also 12-0. Are they going to penalize them? Are they the odd man out, or could they possibly still get a benefit of the doubt?
If Washington beats Oregon, they're in.
If Washington loses, but if Texas loses and Florida State loses, does Florida State jump Washington? Do they go from?
I would. Well, then that's where you could make the argument that Washington and Georgia both have over Ohio State is they played for played in the conference championship game. And maybe and then Ohio State could come back and say, well, yeah, that's because they don't have divisions, or I guess for the Pac-12's sake, but Ohio State had opportunities to win the game, and as I said in my opening rant,
and didn't do
it. So it would be quite. Ohio State needs a lot more than what they had. They needed last year.
Last year they needed a Utah win.
That's all. Yeah, that's all they needed. Now they need a bunch of factors to happen. They're not dead, but they're on life support.
They are. Yes.
So here's the committee.
Yep.
Chris Alt. He is the former director of athletics at Nevada.
Okay.
Mitch Barnhart is Kentucky's athletic director.
Okay.
Boo Kerrigan is NC State's director of athletics. Chet Gladchuk is the Navy Academy director of athletics. Jim Grobe is a former football coach. Mark Harlan is Utah's athletic director. Ward Manuel, we all know that one, Michigan. So That's interesting. David Saylor is Miami, Ohio. Will Shields runs some athletic complex in Overland Park, Kansas.
The former chief offensive lineman?
Former chief, yeah. I was like, I know that name.
I've heard that name before.
My favorite guy, Gene Taylor. We all know where he's at. Joe
Shout out
Taylor,
Gene.
Vice President for Intercollegiate Athletics and Community Wellness at Virginia Union University, whatever the heck that is.
Okay.
Rod West, Group President, Utility Operations for Entergy Corporation. Interesting. And then the one female, Kelly Whiteside, is a professor at Montclair State University.
Diversity.
There it is.
She's white. That doesn't count. She's just a white female. That doesn't count.
She doesn't matter.
There's like 5 white males, 2 African American, and then 2 male, and then a white female. So they did awesome,
Yeah. Do you think we could ever get Gene Taylor on here?
It's practically a
committee in the conversation.
I mean, you might as well email him and see, or else I guess I can. I know him. Like, could always see.
But let's go down to the. Let's go back up to.
Hey, real quick though, just because we've talked about this, I want to hear all 3 of us our four rankings and where we have these teams.
Based off of these, our predictions, yes.
Yes, based off of our predictions, where we think it'll be, who's the 1, who's the 2, who's the 3, who's the 4. I want to hear us.
Who wants to go first?
Okay.
It was my idea. I'll go first.
All right.
So obviously Georgia 1. I got Michigan 2. I'm going to go Oregon with the win over Washington at 3. And then since I said Louisville and I think Texas wins, I think Sark gets Texas there and Texas is at the 4.
Okay.
So I got Michigan 1, since I have Georgia losing.
Yep.
I am gonna have Oregon the 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think they win.
Not the 2 and 3 matter.
No, it doesn't. I'm gonna have Alabama 3. Actually, no, it'd be Texas 3.
Texas
they beat Alabama. Alabama 4.
Wow.
That's fair. But the number 1
Grant,
seed matters because you choose where you want to play.
Yep.
Because remember, guys, this 2018.
Michigan, Bama. Holy shit.
Holy shit. But remember this, it matters where you play because in 2018, Alabama was the number 1 overall seed.
Yep.
The semifinals that year were in Dallas and Miami. They were playing Oklahoma. Norman and Oklahoma City is damn close to Dallas. We're going to Miami.
Yes,
boys. Yeah,
Can you imagine this Jersey game though in the title? Michigan versus Texas.
Oh my God. Woo! That's a Jersey game, baby.
Oh, that'd be the best Jersey game since USC Texas.
Oh my God, yeah. Dude, even my semifinal game with Oregon and Michigan, that's a hell of a Jersey because you have tradition on one side and we don't know what they're gonna wear on the other side.
Yeah.
And then my semifinal game, you got Texas and the icy all whites, and then that Georgia red is just sexy. Ooh, god damn!
Rematch of the
2018
Sugar Bowl, but
Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
But my go down to my playoff predictions. I got Georgia 1, Michigan 2, Oregon 3, Florida State 4.
Okay. Call me crazy. Of all the teams Michigan could play, Dylan, I think Oregon is the one they'd want to play.
It could be, yeah.
Because
you're gonna have to play them at some point, either way.
At some point, but that Oregon defensive line, TCU's defensive line was small last year, and we saw how that worked out. But this is a different Michigan team, so whatever. But hey, we got to play the games Friday and Saturday first.
You're right, we do. And with that, let's go to back up to the NFL for our week 13 game of the week, and I believe I am up here, so I'm gonna go with. We're gonna go down to a place that we've been very fond, very high of. We've been complimenting this city quite a bit lately. Broncos-Texans. Texans are trying to bounce back. Love you too, Ethan.
Dude,
bounce back. Tough.
An hour and 12 minutes in, and we're finally talking about Houston. We got there. It took a while.
Well, and we missed an opportunity. We could have talked it earlier because that's where the national championship game is going to be played, is in Houston.
Oh shit, we missed it.
We did, but tough loss to Jacksonville. Denver, they're trying to turn that 5-game win streak into 6. Sean Payton, we dogged on him early in the year. Did not get off to a great start, but he's done a phenomenal job of evaluating his team's strengths, weaknesses, understanding what they're good at, what they're not good at, and developing a game plan around that to put the team in position to win. December football, it's playoff football, and both of these teams are going to be fighting for playoff positioning. And a win here, whoever wins this game, is putting themselves in the driver's seat to be in the be one of the wild card teams, or with the Texans, they're still alive within the division, but this could have some playoff implications down the road that whoever wins this game might be a winner go home game.
Hey, Dylan, I have a question. Are you worried about CJ Stroud in this game? I mean, he's never played in the first week in December before. This is new territory for him.
It's the dawn of a brand new era. That was old CJ. He didn't have to deal with.
He was coached by Ryan Day.
He was coached by Ryan Day. He was afraid, intimidating.
He has Tank Dell.
No.
He'll be fine.
And D'Amico Ryan. He'll be fine.
I have Tank Dell and CJ Stroud on my fantasy team. They will not let me down.
Well,
I thought you'd enjoy that.
I'm taking the low-hanging fruit. I'm going Eagles and 49ers. Possibly game of the year. Grant, good luck finding a third one because there isn't one.
I got one for you, Grant. Don't worry.
Oh, Christ.
But no, this has potentially game of the year. absolutely number one seed implications here. If the Eagles win, they very well might have the one seed locked up at this point.
Yeah.
Try and find 2 more losses on their schedule, really 3, because San Francisco already has 3 losses, so they have to lose 3 times in order to basically lose it. But
Jalen Hurts would have to be out for the year.
Yes, that knee would have to deteriorate very fast or get hit somehow. But yeah, they're not going to lose 3 more times this year. So really, if the 49ers want the 1 seed, it comes down to Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're 49ers are 3-point road favorites in this one too.
Well, after seeing the Eagles and Niners play these last 3 weeks, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. It does. Think of what happened last year. The 49ers are going to be out there for blood.
Well, I have an idea. Lock Hassan Reddick.
Yeah. No kidding.
I have an idea. Well, I already doubled down on one take earlier today, so I can't double down on Ethan's game of the week because this is by far the game of the week. And I'm not going to lie, guys. Had I gone first in this category, I was going to just choose this for all of us. I was going to end the category. I was going to hit the atomic bomb button and say no other game counts.
It would only be the second time on this podcast we've utilized that.
Yes. But I'm going to go to Sunday night. Chiefs Packers. The Packers are playing well these last couple of weeks. It's a home game. They're back in Lambeau under the lights. Jordan Love looks comfortable. He's playing great these last couple weeks. But this Packers offense has got to go up against the Chiefs defense, and this Chiefs secondary is going to be a challenge they haven't seen yet this year. L'Jarius Sneed, McDuffie, Justin Reed, they could potentially put the clamps down on these receivers and make it tough for Jordan Love. What L'Jarius Sneed has done this year against A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson is remarkable. Will he do that Sunday? He's going to have an opportunity against Christian Watson on Sunday. And what will be interesting is Greg Olson in the broadcast on Thursday said the Packers' offensive line, their strength is pass protection. Well, this week with Spags coming at you with Jones, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, Amenihew's playing well, Mike Dana, shout out to the Michigan Wolverine there for you, Dylan. The most underrated player on the Chiefs defense this year. And then with these linebackers, with the way he can come at you with these pressures, how do they handle that? And how does the Packers receivers, can they get off the sticky coverage from McDuffie, Sneed, Reed, Jalen Watson, and Joshua Williams? So Chiefs Packers on Sunday night. Since I can't pick the Eagles 49ers, I'll go with the Sunday night game.
Well, Grant, I had one. If you couldn't pick one, I had Colts Titans, and these were the notes that I had for why I had this game. I'm only picking this one because I had the Titans as a playoff team and need them to win to stay in the hunt.
It's beautiful. Making it about yourself. I'm a fan.
That's right. But before we get to curveball of the week here, I got one little thing about the NDSU Bison. They took care of Drake 66-3. And then what they won is a date out in Bozeman, Montana to play the Montana State Bobcats. 1 p.m. game, 1 p.m. Mountain Time game on ESPN Plus here. Montana State is the 6th seed. They have kind of limped to the 6th seed. They did not have a good showing in the Brawl of the Wild game, which sorry Mike if you're listening, but in the Grizz Cat game, they've have not played well. They've lost two of their 4 games in November. There's questions at quarterback. NDSU is playing some of their best football as of now. In this game for the Bison, this game is a pick'em actually, or not a pick'em. Montana State opened as a 1-point favorite. I don't know what that line is, if that line has shifted at all. But NDSU, they're going to have to go there. They're going to have to run the ball. I think it's important that they're able to force some turnovers, take that and do it early, steal a possession, get something, kind of take that crowd out of it. NDSU's played. This is going to be their 4th road playoff games in the FCS era here.
Only
their 4th.
That's crazy.
And in the 3 road playoff games that they have played, they have turned the ball over 7 times. They need to flip that trend. They cannot turn the ball over. Need to play downhill. I think defensively, this is going to be. I think if the big thing is the defense has to show up. I think with Montana State being the running team that they are, and it's important that NDSU keeps them off schedule, gets them wins first and second down, makes it in obvious passing situations, and let the pass rush that has come to life at the end of the year get after the quarterback, whoever they have in Tommy Malott, or I can't even Chambers, I think is the guy's last name. But that, and then offensively, like I said, don't turn the ball over, run the ball, and we're going to see what happens. If I had to pick, I think I'm going to pick NDSU to win 28-24. And the difference is I think Cam Miller is better than the two quarterbacks that Montana State has. So I'm going to roll with the Bison, which potentially sets up a rematch depending on what happens in the South Dakota-Sacramento State game. The Bison could be going down to Vermillion to avenge one of their 3 losses this year.
Yeah, quite the atmosphere.
It would be. I've talked about it. I've thought about making the trek down there, but got to win. South Dakota has to win. But there's also potential, too, that if Sacramento State beats USD and NDSU beats Montana State, NDSU would be hosting a quarterfinal matchup.
Well, Dylan, I will say this. I've been to Vermillion, South Dakota once in my life.
I've never been.
There's not much there, but they're going to have a bar, a hotel, and a place where you can grab a pizza on Friday nights. So
my dad, when my dad was in college, they were at a USD game, and someone threw a frozen coyote at the cheerleaders and KO'd one of them. How you get a coyote
you
into
rascal.
a football stadium is beyond me, but then again, there were probably no rules back then. So.
Oh, God, that's hilarious.
Well, that South Dakota State, South Dakota, that's a rivalry game. It was a lot that
they hate each other.
Hey, so Mike, why does your daughter have permanent brain damage? She was hit in the head with a frozen coyote.
Oh boy. So, all right, Grant, what do you it is your time for curveball of the week, and whenever it's my turn, I actually have come up with a really good one that I don't know if I want to do my next time. It might be a summer or post basketball where we actually have a full on discussion about it, but I'm not going to spill the beans on it yet. So, Grant, floor, enough about me talking here. What do you got for us for curveball of the week?
So, actually, in these last couple of days here, I've just kind of planned a couple vacations I'm going to take in the spring. One, I'm going to Florida to see Caleb and the family, and 2, I'm going to a city I've never gone to before, being San Antonio, Texas.
Ooh, what are you doing down there?
We're just gonna me and my mom, we're gonna meet up with Miranda and Jared. We're gonna go down and just take in what the great city of San Antonio has. The Alamo, the Riverwalk, they got the caves.
Are you gonna boo whoever the visiting team shooting free throws?
I think I'm going to, yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says "Pop, you suck."
Maybe you'll get him to go back on the mic.
Yes. Get
lifetime achievement right there.
Some some good Mexican food. Take down the Riverwalk, and just kind of anything else in that great city of San Antonio. So that's one city I've never been to before. So I'm curious, boys, if you could take a vacation now to some city in America you've never been to, what would that be?
Ooh. Ethan, I'll let you go here.
I'm gonna say Colorado Springs.
And okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say I have another city, but I'll let you guys go first.
I'll say Colorado Springs. Always wanted to go out there. Go to Rocky Mountain National Park.
Been there.
Yeah, Grant's been there. I've only heard amazing things. I love being out there doing the hiking, all that stuff. So that's probably on the bucket list. Yeah, for sure.
And dude, you got the Air Force Academy by the U.S. Olympic Training Center
Yeah, there's so much.
is in Colorado Springs. Like you said, Rocky Mountain National Park, Estes State Park, the Garden of the Gods, the Royal Gorge. You could
Yeah.
spend a week out in Colorado and not
Mhm.
touch the surface of that. So
Yeah.
good choice.
It's me, and I'm thinking here. The brain biscuits are turning,
This is dangerous.
and this is. I would have to go, and I was gonna go there, but COVID happened, so I did not get to go. I would say Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We got a
Ooh.
lot of golf courses. Heard it's right on the beach, beaches, golf courses. Big fan. Can golf in the morning, lay out on the beach in the afternoon, watch the sunset, look at a couple of beautiful women in the.
There's more than a couple
the
down
beach?
there.
More than a couple,
More than a couple.
Enjoy Waffle House, some fantastic food. So I would say Myrtle Beach, South Carolina would be my destination place.
Another city I've been to.
And it was tough because I'm trying to think, like, I'm going back and I'm like, I've been to a lot of the places, like, been to, which I don't know if LA is the place anymore, but been to LA, been to San Diego, been to Seattle, been to Vegas, been to Phoenix, been to Denver. I guess you could make the argument Ann Arbor, Michigan, but I'm gonna go there at some point. So
that's fair.
But Grant, what is your city you want to go to?
I think just for the historical aspect of this country and to see the nation's capital, I think DC would be too much to pass up.
Also have been there.
I was going to say you've been there too. Like it's just kind of anything and everything. You have the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial.
Did you know that they're actually changing the Washington Memorial? They're renaming it the Clinton Memorial.
Are they now? Just
have I ever told you that story? When we went?
Yes.
Okay. Ethan, have you heard this story?
I have not.
Okay, so we just graduated high school. We all went to close up, and Cody gets this bright idea, which your Cody idea, of course, it was a bright idea. Decides to lay down and position himself to where his crotch is right on the Washington Monument, and he's laying down. We're trying to get the picture just right. There is a lady that sprints. She's about halfway past the halfway by the water, like the water pool or whatever it is, the reflection pool. Starts running. You can't do that. You got to stand up. He's like, why? I was just taking a nap. Oh no, I know what you were doing.
They're taking a shit?
No,
he's laying down. Looked like he's got a huge cock.
Oh Jesus! Oh, Jesus.
Like that one guy who did it when he was in Italy at the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
But awesome. Grant, I didn't continue here on your talk of DC.
I just think there'd be so much historical things to check out. It would be really cool and be a vacation where you learn a lot about this nation's history, the good and the bad. It's just kind of, I think, a lot of fun. I know the traffic would suck, and if you went in the summer, it would be hot as hell, and it wouldn't be too fun to go to. But DC would just be such a cool place to go to.
And the traffic, actually, I don't remember it being too bad.
Okay.
But and it's actually a very, very pretty area. Lots of trees, very, very scenic, I thought. You look around, you got monuments all over the place. Go to Arlington National Cemetery. That was probably, when I went, that was probably the coolest place we went to, I thought, and going to see the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. That was probably my favorite part of the trip. I still have videos of it on my phone from when I got to go see that. It was just a very cool moment. Got to go to the Smithsonian. Went outside of the White House. Went to a Nationals game. It is a very cool city. It'd be a fun trip for Fun trip for sure. But I think that wraps up episode 106 here of the Three Guys Talking About podcast. We'll have the segments of the show out on Friday. Be back next week to recap everything that happened in the college football and the NFL. Maybe even talk some college basketball here as do a little bit of talk of that, of things to look forward to as that season picks up here, because it's a little bit of a lull time because we got not a lot of college football happening after conference championship week. Got to crown a Heisman winner, but yeah, we might talk some college basketball or think of something different to maybe review do a movie film review. We'll see. We'll think of something, come up with it. But check us out on all of our socials. Make sure you're following us there. Subscribe on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, 3GTV podcast, TikTok as well. We'll be posting contents there. I'll be posting my bets for Championship Saturday and then the NFL on Sunday. But until then, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.